I was 68 when my son-in-law sold my car for the family. The morning it happened, the coffee tasted like cardboard. Not because I'd switched to the budget tin, though I had, but because I was drinking it from a chip mug with my wife's name on it. Lydia, 3 years gone as of April 17 th, 8:12 a.m. The exact time glowing on the microwave I bought at Sears in 2009 when salesmen still wore ties. My kitchen window frames the maple in the yard, leaves the color of weak tea. I open a blind, and my driveway is a clean, empty jaw. No Lexus. For a full minute, I stand there with the mug warming my fingers, as if a car could be shy and return if I'm gentle. The hook on the wall is naked where my spare fob used to hang. Naked is a funny word for plastic and metal, but that's what it looks like. Exposed. The phone rings. Hey, Dad. Mark says he only calls me Dad when he needs something. Quick update. I took care of the car. Define took care, I say. 3 words, each sharper than the last. He laughs like he's negotiating a corporate lunch. It was just sitting there, and look, the family's underwater right now. Insurance, Jake's braces, all that. I found a buyer. It's a relief, honestly. How much? A fair number. He exhales. 22. I set the mug down hard enough to make the teaspoon jump. 2,200? 1,000. Dad, be reasonable. It had 96,000 miles and a scrape on the rear bumper. I used the money to help with the cards and the ER bill from when Jake broke his wrist, remember? We're at negative 18.7 on Chase, 9.4 on medical. This plugged the holes. Whose name was on the title? A pause. Yours, but I walk to the hall closet, slide the manila folder out. Registration, RX450H. Lydia's handwriting, round and tidy, labels of tabs. And the spare key. Had to give it to the guy. Dad, we're family. I'll make it right. You didn't ask, I say. You did it to help, but you didn't ask. Because asking stresses people out. He chuckles again like that's wisdom. Trust me, I've got this. He hangs up before I can tell him the way trust actually works. I sit at the kitchen table with the placemat Lydia crocketed in 1991, burn mark at the corner for my old pipe, and I write a list with a dull pencil. Keys. Title. Who? Where? When? Why, though I already know. I make toast. The toaster coughs out black crumbs from a decade of breakfast. The butter from the back of the fridge spreads like cold paint. It tastes of salt and thyme. I chew carefully, as if respect can be returned to my mouth one bite at a time. If you believe older voices still matter, support this channel with a like and a subscription. The rest of the day, I go hunting for my own ignorance. First stop, the desk in the spare room, the bottom drawer that sticks on humid days. I lay out my life like a crime scene. Bank statements from First National, Visa, and Chase, and a store card I swore I'd closed. On the legal pad, I draw neat columns with a ruler Lydia stole from the post office. June, Zell to M_Rickman. $3,200. No gym tuition. Jake is 11. His gym charges $60 a month. July, ACH to Premium Travel Services. $2,750. I didn't travel in July. I replaced the gasket on the upstairs toilet and made a pot roast that tasted like memory. August, Venmo to SC Camps. $6,900. The memo line, last minute thanks. My hand shakes just enough to make the 6 look like a 5. I steady it with the other. I bruti. The kettle screams. I let it. At 4:15 daughter Claire texts. You talk to Mark? He's stressed. Be kind. I type he stole my car. Then hold the backspace until the light on my phone dims with fatigue. The house smells like pine sol and onions. I turn on the lamp Lydia hated. Too bright. And read the insurance folder. Last renewal paid for my account. They still have family access to because in 2020 I was recovering from a hernia and let them handle things. They handled them right into my checking. I don't rage. Rage is expensive. I underline numbers instead. I circle dates. I paperclip. At 7:40 p.m. I call Mark back. What was the buyer's name? Dad, can this wait? We're dealing with bath time. The buyer's name, I repeat in my classroom voice from when I taught shop, and silence was a tool. He sighs the sigh of a martyr who schedules his own crucifixion. It's on the bill of sale. Then text me the bill of sale. Can't find it this second. Find it in 20 minutes, I say, and hang up. In the bedroom, I pull Lydia's cedar box down. The room fills with the smell of 100 winters. The spare fob is in my palm before I remember the empty hook. I stare at my hand like it borrowed faith and lost it. I set the box back and write one more thing on my list. DMV. The DMV on a Tuesday is a test of soul integrity. The chairs believe in suffering. The walls are beige for a reason. But the clerk with a purple streak in her hair treats me like a person and not like a ticker number. How can I help, sir? My car was sold. I didn't sell it. Do you have the VIN? She asks, and I do because I wrote it on my hand last night like a cheat sheet. She types. The screen reflects in her glasses 2 squares of bureaucratic light. Transfer recorded Friday at 3:12 p.m. She lists the buyer. Not a person. A dealership. Car lot prime on Jefferson. I whistle without meaning to. Did they need my signature? There's a power of attorney form filed here. She turns the monitor a fraction. There's my name cropped from some older document where I was alive enough to sign too many things. It's limited to vehicle sale, she says, and she reads the date aloud. The date crushes the air in my lungs. The day Lydia was in the hospital for the second time. The day I was 3 hours from any desk, any signature, any common sense. Can I get a copy? Sure. $2. I pay with singles from the coin tray. Rebellious quarters clinking like small truths. The form is a copy of a copy. The ink tired where my J starts. The notary stamp is sharp enough to be proud of itself. Mark's name floats on the second page like an afterthought with intent. Carlot Prime is 8 minutes from the DMV. They pump fresh coffee into the showroom so people will smell money. The salesman who tells me his name is Tyler wears a suit tighter than honesty. RX 450H, Pearl White Premium Package, I tell him. He smiles. We had a beauty like that come through last week. Good eye. Bill of sale. I hold out my hand, teacher again. He disappears into an office with frosted glass. Returns with a photocopy. The number in the total line looks at me without shame. $28,500. Thought so, I say. Was the vehicle yours? Tyler's tone softens. In case I am here to regret and buy a replacement on credit. It still is, I answer. And I smile with all my teeth. For now. On the sidewalk, I call Mark and put him on speaker because the day deserves witnesses. 22. I say, a beat. Then that was after fees. Your fees? Dad, you're being hostile. You're being imprecise. I read the figure. 25. Cashier's check deposited at 9:41 a.m. Saturday into Claire and Mark household. Account ending 4112. I know that because First National is still my bank, and because I remember everything you assume I forgot. He says nothing, then tries the sentence that lives in his pocket. I did it to help. To help whom? I ask, and the sarcasm's a thin blade. Because my driveway looks extremely helped. He huffs. You were barely driving it. And with the family's debt, it was irresponsible. Say debt again, I tell him, tasting the word like a penny. Say family. You don't understand how expensive kids are now. I understand numbers, I say, and signatures, and theft. Big word. He laughs once. Don't throw around accusations. Not accusations, I tell him. Allegations in writing. He hangs up because his courage is allergic to paper. I buy a notebook on the way home. The cashier asks, college ruled okay? I tell her I graduated from common sense, and she laughs like she understands. Ms. Delgado's office smells like lemon and law. Diplomas crowd her wall, all tidy fonts and gold seals. She listens the way a surgeon listens to a heart that's been lying about itself. You have the DMV copy, she asks, and I hand it over. And the sale? 25, I say. He told me 22. She reads, her finger following each line like scripture. The limited POA is suspicious. Date, circumstances. If your signature was obtained when your capacity was compromised, grief, hospital stress, we can argue undue influence. Also, there's the proceeds. He had no authority to convert them to his use. Plain language? I ask. He sold your car without informed consent and pocketed the money, she says. That's conversion and civil theft. We sue for the $28,500 plus treble damages under state statute, plus fees, plus costs. We can also move for a temporary restraining order barring further dissipation of any property where he claims help. I nod. And the family. She sets the papers in a neat stack. Love is not a legal defense for theft. I like her for that sentence. I tell her about Chase and premium travel and the camp transfers. I tell her about the text messages where Mark wrote, "Don't loop Dad in, he gets stressed. I'll handle it." And Claire answered with a heart. We print them. We circle timestamps. We highlight lies with a brand new yellow marker that bleeds a little on thin paper like the truth seeping through. By 3:10 p.m., we've drafted a complaint with paragraphs numbered the way arguments should be. I sign my name without shaking. The pen leaves a groove in the page deep enough to live in. Expect a call, Ms. Delgado says. People like Mark call before they get served. They think they can talk you out of your dignity. The sheriff won't find their porch. He'll find it, I say. They never fix the squeak in the right hinge. That night I make a skillet dinner Lydia will call thrown together. Chicken thighs with too much paprika, onions that caramelize because they have no choice, a potato that splits exactly down the center like it remembered geometry. I eat at the counter with the radio low. My house is very quiet when it respects me. At 8:41 p.m., Claire calls. Can we talk like adults? She says. We can try. Mark told me you're overreacting. He sold my car. He sold the car, she says, soft, persuasive. You gave us permission. I did not. You said last month it might be time to downsize. I said I might sell it myself and buy something practical. I answer. I did not say, please sell my vehicle while I'm making coffee and disguise the proceeds as orthodontia. She exhales. Dad, you're being dramatic. And you're being precise in the wrong places. I say. A process server will be at your door tomorrow between 9 and noon. We're something respectful. She sucks in a breath. You wouldn't. I would, I say. I did. She hangs up the way people hang up when they can't find a word bigger than sorry. The public part comes sooner than I plan. Saturday, 11:00 a.m. My granddaughter's choir recital at St. Martin's. I go because she asked me with both hands and because children's voices are the only things that sound clean without scrubbing. Between the second and third song, while the music teacher retunes a stubborn violin, Mark slides into the pew next to me carrying the cologne of panic. Call it off, he whispers, lips barely moving, like we're spies in a movie that cost too much. No, it'll humiliate us. You did that, I say, and the organ hums a middle C-like agreement. We're family, he says. We are, I answer, which makes this civil not criminal. Be grateful for the mercy of paperwork. He grips the hymnal like it can absolve him. I can pay back 22 by the end of the month. The number is 25, I say, plus court costs, plus fees, plus a penalty for thinking I wouldn't check. He looks at his shoes. They're new. The laces know more about debt than he does. I thought I was helping. I finish for him. You mistook access for consent. That's your whole religion. People cough politely. The teacher announces Shenandoah, and the children find their note like it was waiting for them. When the song is over, I clap until my hands sting, and then I leave first, so the hallway will be mine if they need a stage. They do. Claire meets me by the notice board with the potluck sign-up sheet. Fury and fear braided into her voice. You served our family, she hisses, as if service were an insult. No, I say, the court will serve you. I simply helped. What do you want? Respect, I say, and $28,500. Her eyes gloss the way glass does before cracks. We don't have it. You have a leased SUV, I say. You have 3 credit cards with limits you call ambition. You have premium travel services and a vacation you call necessary to reconnect. Sell something that isn't mine. Dad, she says, and that word lands where it counts. We're drowning. Then stop standing on my shoulders, I say. I touch her arm gently, because love is not a legal defense, but it is still love. I will be in court Tuesday. I hope you'll too. The Hall of Justice on 10th Street wears its name like a dare. In Department 402, the fluorescent lights hum out a key that never quite resolves. The judge, a woman younger than my disappointments, reads with the same focus Ms. Delgado has, the same suspicion of shortcuts. Ms. Delgado does the talking. I do the remembering. We lay out the copies. DMV transfer. Limited POA, dated the day Lydia's heart shuddered. Bill of sale. Bank deposit. Messages. Withdrawals. Help that costs an old man his dignity. Mark's attorney tries a sentence about family hardship, and the judge raises a hand that could stop birthdays. Hardship is not a license to steal, she says, especially from those who trusted you. She flips another page. Mr. Rickman, you converted the plaintiff's property without consent and used the proceeds for your own benefit. The limited POA does not authorize self-dealing. The court fines for the plaintiff. She reads the numbers like a cashier with ethics. $28, $500 in compensatory damages, $8,000 in attorney's fees, $1,240 in costs. Treble damages under civil theft statute as pled and proven. Total award $85,500. The plaintiff's request for a temporary restraining order is granted as to any further disposition of the plaintiff's assets. Compliance review set for 60 days. The pen in my pocket is heavy. The clock on the wall is louder than the room. Mark stares at the table like the wood owes him a favor. The judge turns to me. Mr. Jackson, the court recognizes the familial ties here. If you wish to structure repayments to minimize additional harm to your daughter and grandchildren, your counsel can prepare a plan. I will, I say, because justice and kindness can have coffee together if you pour carefully. Outside, the air tastes like rain even though the sky is clear. Claire and I stand 6 feet apart because some distances should be measured precisely. Dad, she says, and the word is both apology and childhood. I know, I say. We walk to the curb together. You fix the money. I'll fix the passwords. She laughs through her tears. Fair, I say, and that word hums truer than fluorescent lights. I buy a used Prius in cash from a man who reminds me of myself at 40, tired for the right reasons. It is not a Lexus. It is quieter. It forgives my parallel parking. It smells faintly of pine and spilled coffee and possibility. At home, I turn the spare key hook backward so the open mouth faces the wall. I change the online banking passwords to things Lydia would have liked. The year we met, the street of our first apartment, the number of stitches in her favorite scarf. I remove family access. I add two-factor. My phone chirps a code like a parakeet with a secret. Dinner is simple. A tomato sandwich with too much black pepper, dill pickles from a jar I've had since June, tea that finally tastes like tea again. The house breathes with me instead of around me. At 8:03 p.m., Claire sends a photo. Jake smiling with a mouthful of metal I apparently paid for twice. Holding a brown bag lunch, he packed himself. The caption reads, working on it. I send a thumbs up and then a heart because some habits shouldn't be broken. At 9:17 p.m., Mark texts a single line. I'll pay. It is the best sentence he's written as long as I've known him. I sit on the porch with my sweater and the sound of my street. A cyclist passes. Somewhere a dog decides it has opinions. My hands remember the Lexus steering wheel and do not miss it. They rest on the wood armrest Lydia varnished in 1987. When we thought time was a pantry, we'd stocked well. He sold my car to help. I helped myself to court. Now my hook is empty by choice, and my keys are exactly where I left them, ringing the way honest metal does when it knows who it belongs to.